So the significance of the next 25 minutes to the end of this session is, several nations are in a continuum. They're in a continuum of beginning their clinical engineering programs across their country, and they face various challenges as they do that. So I'm going to stop talking and introduce some of these speakers, and they have 5 minutes or less, so this is going to be a quick hitting session. So success factors for emerging national clinical engineering programs. Ladina Pakari from Albania is coming here. Come on up, Ladina. So Ladina has been in the Ministry of Health running a health technology unit for several years, and I want her to talk, and she's done a lot of things she's going to speak about in another parallel session about improving regulation, health technology regulation for her country. But she's going to talk today about that, maybe a little bit, but expanding clinical engineering among other Balkan countries. So take it away, Ladina.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, everybody. Very happy to be here today to share with you my story and our modest achievements in clinical engineering and health technology management. Clinical engineering and health technology management is relatively new in Albania, but evolving quickly, like everywhere, due to increased role of technology in diagnosis and treatment, but due to increased investment that we have done in Albania during the last 10 years, the demand for clinical engineering and health technology management is increased as well. And we went straight to the top. We managed to establish a unit for medical devices at Ministry of Health for overall supervision and monitoring of medical devices, having for the first time high competencies in a level of decision making, and the head of the unit was a biomedical engineer. The unit was directly involved in legislation preparation, and we could have our first law on medical devices in 2014 and some very important policies, mainly for maintenance of medical devices. But recently, Ministry of Health is doing informatization of a healthcare system, and with medical devices becoming more software based, and with this informatization process that we are undertaking, we are trying to increase this new role of the clinical engineer in the system. But of course, we are facing a lot of problems, still lack of recognition, awareness, health technology assessment. It's not yet a real tool in policy decisions. And we realize that we all, even these days, are realizing that at the end, we are sharing the same problems. Just last year, this time, thanks to Italian Association of Clinical Engineers, we met together some Mediterranean countries and some Balkan countries, and yes, we realized we are sharing the same problems, and why don't have a regional approach to solve this problem. So what we are trying to do is to collaborate and to establish a collaboration in the region, and especially in Balkans, since we now have a very political momentum, good political momentum, we are trying to establish this collaboration. And this event is helping a lot as well to do the steps toward this collaboration. When Adriana said before, what is the word that comes in your minds, I wrote recognition because I think that is important, but the next word that came to my mind was inspiration, because I always get inspired from these events, and I hope this will help further regional and larger collaboration. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Ladina. That's a word from the Balkans and the regional approach and the Ministry of Health approach. For Africa, we've had a substitution, and Salome Mawura is here from Kenya. Salome had no preparation for this talk, but she's been very active in her national society for several years. maybe just talk a moment or two, and I'll ask a question, Salome, if you need me to. AMEC, tell us what AMEC is and your National Clinical Engineering Society there in Kenya. Hit that button at the bottom.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you. Salome from Kenya. In Kenya, we have, we call ourselves medical engineering technologists. We have an association called Association of Medical Engineering of Kenya, which brings together all biomedicals who are working in the country. It is just a professional association. We don't have regulation for the profession, though we are still working towards us getting the regulation for the profession. Just like we were talking yesterday, everybody was talking about regulation, regulation, regulation. So I think it cuts across board that not every country has the regulation for the profession. We have several activities as an association, like we have annual conferences, like we are having one next month. So we always bring our biomates together every year so that we can try and see how best we can improve in our country. We are affiliated to IFMBE, where we became members in 2018. Though not paid up, as in, yeah, but we are affiliated to IFMBE, and we would want to thank FBME for supporting us in various activities in Africa. We also do partner with several companies that are in the country, especially GE, Philips. We have a local agent called Megascope, which has really supported the association in our endeavors in every time we approach them. We in the country don't have a degree in medical engineering, but Kenyatta University has started. So we are still having a problem with the training because we are still training at diploma level. They tried higher diploma, it couldn't get the quorum. We are trying the degree for fresh graduates from secondary school. We are trying to see how it's going to go, though it is still in the implementation stage. So, like I said earlier, in our country we have a problem with policy. The government is trying to come up with the policy. It has been trying to finalize it, but up till to date, it is still in the preparation stage.
So I'm going to, very short panel here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
So you've also, part of your affiliation with IFMBE is that they created this working group on Africa activities that
Yes.
Kenya is a part of. And I think there's, maybe we've said this before, there's 6 countries that are formally affiliated with IFMBE, of which your country is one.
Yeah.
So that's the formal part of the working group on Africa activities, which shares best practices across the continent, which is a pretty cool thing. But there's 17 countries involved informally, so it's a great start in exchanging information and helping each other. So thank you, Salome, particularly because I asked you to do that 3 minutes ago. So how cool is that, that you were able to do a wonderful job. Asia, Bangladesh, Mohammed, tell us about some of the factors in your country.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. This is Major Ashraf from Bangladesh. Actually, when I have been in Brazil last time, Sao Paulo, for the second Technology Management Congress, at that time I got inspired from respected Tom Jatan, Yadid David, and Adriana. And then we have started working hard. We are calling, instead of clinical engineering, biomedical engineering in our country. And there are 6 universities running biomedical engineering department only, which is only the 2% comparing to the whole other public and private universities, and also 8 Polytechnical College are running this electromedical equipment technician program. Almost 5,900 technician is there, but for the certification problem, only 300 is working, and the rest are the jobless till now. So for this situation, we have requested to our Honorable Prime Minister for setting an individual biomedical institute, biomedical engineering institute, and we are lucky enough from last March, it has been, a MOU was signed with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the namely is the Saudi Bangladesh Institute of Biomedical Engineering and Technology, and initially government has funded $13 million to establish this one, and from the next January it will be inaugurated. And beside that, the Director General of Drug Administration is working with us, which is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and then also the Ministry of Expatriate and the Overseas Employment, especially the Bureau of Manpower Employment and Training. They are working with us for preparing or developing the skilled manpower in the field of clinical engineering and biomedical engineering. Though we have established an organizations, clinical engineering health technology, and then as the all programs are in the name of biomedical engineering, so we are changing the names and we are establishing another individual biomedical and clinical engineering association, which will be functional within 2 months. And I think with the collaboration of CD and IFMBE, actually we need the affiliation immediately, and several strategic partnership with all the clinical engineering association all over the world, and especially the exchange of expert faculties or the experts who can make a short trip to us to teach us, and then with the guidance or active guidance from these global experts, we can learn more and we can develop more biomedical engineers and technicians with the shortest possible time. So our initial target is that by the 2030, we will develop at least 50,000 biomedical engineer and technician with the support or accreditation system from the IFMBE, CED, and the ACC, whoever working in these fields. Actually, the money or the investment in our country now doesn't matter, especially our Honorable Prime Minister, who has become already the vaccine hero just 2 weeks ago, you know. So her personal interest in the biomedical engineering, clinical engineering field, I think motivate us, and we can achieve another milestone, especially for the sustainable development goal for the clinical engineering or the clinical engineers by 2030. Thank you.
So thank you so much. So what I heard was CE staffing challenges.
Challenges is...
I'm going to wrap up because we got to go on, but thank you. I heard about CE staffing challenges. I heard about an institute that's been set up through the Ministry of Health, and then that you're in the midst of calling in outside expert assistance to come alongside, and a lot of other things going on, but that's a great summary. So from the Western Pacific, Benito from the Philippines. I think they're going to throw up a slide for him.
Yeah, I got...
Go ahead and start while they...
I got a slide.
Go ahead and start while they put up your slide.
Thank you very much, Chairman Tom. I'm Benito Macalino from the Philippines. So my topic for this afternoon is all about medical equipment technology. It's a specially designed module that I made it because in the Philippines, we are having a problem with our biomed technicians, meaning to say the ratio of every hospital has no technician to maintain this basic diagnostic equipment. So that's why my presentation is filling the gaps, connecting the dots, and establishing the link. It started in 2009 when we had the international aid training from WHO, and from onwards we do not have any training, and fortunately I was one of the products of international aid. So seeing this problem in the Philippines, This met one is specially designed module for biomed technicians and clinicians, medical staff that endorse medications and operates medical devices, empowering the capacity building to fill in the gaps of their prior stored knowledge. So meaning to say, these nurses will be, or clinician will be trained to do the preventive maintenance, the basic preventive maintenance. So in so doing, those also technician, electrical, and any other background help in the facility maintenance, they will be also participating in this preventive maintenance. So the context of this medical equipment technology is covering like 12 days for 12 units, and these are the list of equipment. Next slide, please. Okay, so next slide, please. So we begin from the basic human major vital signs. So anything in these vital signs, the body temperature, the height and weight, the body mass index, the blood pressure, the heart rate, the pulse rate, and the partial saturation of oxygen, and the respiratory rate, there are underlying clinical diagnostic medical devices to monitor these ranges.
About 1 more minute.
Okay.
1 more minute. Keep going.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, it's already
right.
1 minute. Okay, so underlying to this one, you have this kind of medical diagnostic to give parameters if there are some out of ranges. So I'm not going to educate you, but the people there in the Philippines. Next slide, please. And after having those, you cannot find any normal ranges, but the person is also still suffering something in himself or herself because he's not feeling well. Then you have the clinical lab test to find all these body fluids. So these are basic again. And like blood and urine, the most common one. So what these components may include? Okay, all the electrolytes and everything in your body fluids. So there are, again, basic laboratory medical devices that also give the parameters, what's happening in you. Okay, so these things we have to learn, and we have to, again, do preventive maintenance. And next slide, please. I put another additional.
Last slide.
Yeah.
So
okay. So having this, and the most important thing there is how to deliver, how to understand this kind of medical equipment, and all the people who are working in the facility or these clinicians have to understand the importance of using these medical devices. Protocol, like for example, in any laboratory equipment, you should not accept without be sure that it is clean, sterilized. And the most important thing there is an autoclave machine included, that all the medical devices that have been used in this basic medical equipment, all devices must be sterilized. It's okay?
very good.
Okay, that's it.
So I'm acting like a professor here. So what I heard,
I'm sorry.
Benito, is that one approach in the Philippines, an emerging national CE program context, is about 10 years ago, you particularly saw the need for technicians.
Yeah.
You particularly went through initially maybe lab equipment training because of a great need in that area, but then you've expanded beyond that into other areas.
Yeah.
And so these are all different kind of vectors that emerging programs look at that you've heard here in the session. Good news and bad news. The folks from Eastern Europe regional office in Saudi, I don't believe in their office. Salim, if you're out there, wave your hands. I don't think so. So some wonderful work, though, is going on in the Eastern Mediterranean regional office. My colleagues aren't in the room, but at this Congress are Fiza and Tazeen from Pakistan. And they've been watching closely the past couple days and things that have been going on. And they told me at lunchtime that they're an emerging national CE program in Pakistan, and they really want to take advantage of training, online training that can be projected anywhere around the world in digital health, like with Dr. Sloan coming up. And they want to create a national CE society. We've been hearing about how others have done that. And then another interesting thing, Adriano was saying, get a relationship with your country office of WHO. Get a relationship with the Ministry of Health, like Ladina has done, And so, you know, relatively small country, people know each other, so educated young people like clinical engineers can find a relationship possibly to the WHO office. I mean, based on merit, not just based on because they know somebody, but they can then become and then start to feed information to the minister or to the WHO office in their country. And when they have questions, they can feed that to CED, and all of us can help them with various solutions. So those are different approaches for emerging national clinical engineering programs, and we'll love to talk more, but it's time for the next session. So bye for now.
Okay. Done. Yeah.